Hi, it's Mike Stiles from Brand Content Studios. Here's the Content Marketing Quickie for the week ending September 3rd. When it comes to how much value a blog post has, there are those who think blogs unfairly get the shaft. In fact, IZEA had the Halverson Group do a study to see if traditional thinking is correct, which is that a post is useful for 30 days. It isn't. In fact, a blog post's lifespan is almost 24 times longer than that. It's not until around 700 days that a post will have gotten 99% of its total impressions. The first week to 10 days is the shout phase, where 50% of impressions happen, but then comes the echo phase, which takes you to day 30 and 72% of impressions. And lastly, and this is the phase that most people dismiss or don't count, is the reverberate, which adds another 28% of impressions. Ted Murphy points out in Convince and Convert, the study also confirms all this depends on what the post is about. Solid thought leadership lasts longer than product news or campaigns. Is there really that much of a difference between millennials and people over 35? You know, other than the desire to have colored powder thrown on you during a race or foam dumped on you while dancing going down. Adroit Digital looked at how their shopping behaviors and ad preferences compared, and really not that much of a difference. Both do most retail browsing in-store, both are most influenced by online review sites, both are more likely to click a mobile ad than a desktop ad, and both say online and/or mobile ads affect what they buy. The biggest differences can be found in that millennials are more likely to click a native ad than a banner ad and are more bothered by remarketing. PR Week had a chat with some brands and asked some questions you might be interested in the answers to, he said, ending a sentence in a preposition. What's the most important factor in making content consumers will like? Consultant Kathleen Henson says they want to be entertained, educated, surprised, or all three. How can brands be more like a media company? Miller Coors' Pete Marino says too many brands just add to the white noise. Strong brands should disrupt at certain times when they can really make hay. What's the biggest obstacle other than money for companies making great content? Matt Monti of Wrigley says it's bureaucracy. You need an environment that allows creative freedom. And Oscar Meyer's Tom Bick says the key to successful video is sweat the details. Great ideas, great writing, and great people. An infographic from OpenView lays out all kinds of fun stats around B2B and what they're doing with content marketing. The main goal for 84% is brand awareness. Having a blog helps generate 67% more leads in a month than blogless B2Bs. 72% say brand content is a better investment than magazine ads, and 69% like it better than direct mail. Only 21% say they're good at tracking ROI, but customers love it. Content was cited by 65% of buyers as having a significant impact on their choice, and 68% say B2Bs should chill on the sales messages in their content. 80% would rather learn about you through articles, not ads. And here's good news if you're a content genius on the job market, 78% of the B2Bs will add to their content marketing teams over the next year. There are a lot of podcast networks popping up, which is great, because that means a lot more podcasts have a place to live, get discovered, and hopefully thrive. But Wired's Charlie Locke has an issue with all these podcasts. They're all kind of alike, targeting pretty much the same demographic that makes up the early adopter class. So far, that means young, male, higher income, college-educated, city dwellers, as described by Pew's Jesse Holcomb. So if that's the audience, guess who podcasts are made for? That's right, those kinds of people, which doesn't do much to offer more diverse voices. And these shows and hosts cross-promote other shows who are just like them. So does Charlie have a point? Or is it too early to tag the fledgling medium with lack of diversity? Podcasts, after all, are known for super niche subject matter. Sometimes you just find yourself with too darn many departments. Time Inc. is combining their innovation studio, their content solutions, and their verticals into one super content marketing and editorial soup called, no, not Super Soup, it's called The Foundry. It's going to be based in Brooklyn because they want to capture that startup vibe, even though Time Inc.'s been around 100 years. And it'll be headed by Mark Ford, their EVP of Global Ad Sales. Benefits, according to Time's Chris Herchick, is brands can deal with one contact and one offering, and they get to work with Time's brands. Chris says when a client attaches their content to a Time brand, they see a 300 to 400% lift in viewability. I'm still waiting to make People Magazine's least interesting people issue. Technorati tapped into a rich vein of programmatic demand frustration. 45.4% of surveyed publishers aren't able to have demand partners compete with each other on each impression. Why is that bad? Those publishers then have to use tactics to get yield up that even they don't necessarily like. 49% use passbacks and floor prices. Another 49% manually adjust ad serving rules or work with fixed CPM partners. After the inability to get demand partners to compete, the most mentioned challenges are daisy chaining or waterfalling partners is inefficient, not having their own internal developers to support needs, and not having the tech and tools they feel they need. 66.4% buy ad inventory through private marketplaces, but publishers think inventory discovery, deal negotiation, and packaging could definitely be improved. They're the OGs of content. Printed magazines. You remember them, fun subscription cards that fly out like subpar paper airplanes, free perfume by rubbing the magazine all over you, the lengthy ad supplements about Chicago. Well, now you can get a subscription to a magazine that's made by you. It's populated from your phone's camera roll. 100 of your own photos for which you'll pay $9 a month. The app, called Recently, requests you go through your camera roll, and if you have over 100 in a month, it'll try to pull the best ones first. How does it know what's best? I'm sure anything with cats comes first. Why would someone want to do this? Well, some of you take so many pictures you never really go back, look through, and enjoy them. Plus, if you hate reading, there's no text in the magazines, not even captions. Happy birthday, Copy Blogger Media. At 5 years old, it's been decided that name has to go. So Brian Clark announced the company's new name shall be Rainmaker Digital. He says branding it thus and so gives them more room to grow because they've already got the Rainmaker platform and Rainmaker.fm podcast network. Rainmaking sounds more all-encompassing than blogging. However, copyblogger.com will stick around and even get some improvements. If you want to follow the newly branded company, though, you'll find that at Rainmaker HQ. And to think it all started with a one-man blog in 2006. See, there's hope for you and your one-person blog. Congrats to NewsCrib because they got a visit from $42 million more in funding. They're probably going to put a good bit of that toward hiring for the sales team, but they'll also be doing some additional development on its software-as-a-service content marketing management software. CEO Shafkat Islam says users are ignoring display ads and tuning out noise, so reaching the right audience is more critical than ever. Page views, shares, and likes don't mean much if they aren't from your likely buyers, so NewsCred seeks to ID who's interacting with content, what they do for a living, and what they're interested in. On the quality content side, they've got a content marketplace with custom content and licensed pics and posts from 5,000 publishers. They aren't without competitors, though. You've got Contently, Percolate. On the platform side, you have Oracle, Adobe, and Salesforce. But Islam says we're headed towards a collision course, but that's exciting for us. Remind me not to catch a ride with Shafkat. Hulu's going to let people avoid your ads. If you pay $12 a month instead of $8 a month, all those ads will vanish and your shows won't be interrupted. Now, this is a little surprising as a move, since Hulu is owned by people who live and breathe advertising, Comcast, Disney, and News Corp. But the reality is Hulu has to compete with Netflix and Amazon Prime, so the offerings and subscription price has to be in the same ballpark. With 9 million subscribers, they have some growing to do to catch up to Netflix's 42 million. But in the good news department, they just did a licensing deal with Epix, adding hundreds of popular movies that Netflix just lost. So that's where you'll have to go to get your Hunger Games on. Apple's got a Flipboard-type app called News that will be included in iOS 9 this fall after some time in beta land. And the number of publishers playing ball has jumped from 18 to over 50. And you know why a publisher might want to play ball? Because the News app won't be subject to the ad blocking Apple is making easy for people who hate ads to use on mobile Safari. Condé Nast President Bob Sauerberg is making Vanity Fair, Wired, GQ, Epicurious, Teen Vogue, and Condé Nast Traveler available at launch, and already has sponsors for that content. It's a good deal where revenue sharing is concerned. Publishers keep all the revenue for ads they sell, and 70% of the revenue for inventory Apple sells. Plus, they get credit from ComScore for views. But the question Recode's Peter Kafka asks is a valid one. Do you want news readers, or would you rather just see news in your social streams? That's it. The transcript is at brandcontentstudios.com.